Hey, everyone. Welcome to the VO Boss Podcast and the Real Boss series. I'm your host, Ann Ganguza, and of course, I am here with the one and only amazing Mr. Tom Dheere.
Hello, Ann. Hello, bosses.
Hi, Tom Dheere.
Hi.
Tom, it's getting close to the end of the year, getting cold, getting ready for the holidays, and, at the end of the year, I always try to kind of step back and take a look at how did my year go? And I know that this is what you do. This is like your thing as the VO strategist. So I'd love to hear how you evaluate your year, because I want some tips, actually. And I'm sure the bosses out there can always use some good end-of-year tips for evaluating how your business is going.
And I'll be happy to share those.
Yay!
I mean, yeah, I do the feels, there's the emotional part of it. Just how did I feel about the year? Mm-hmm. Did I feel energized? Did I feel motivated? Did I feel satisfied with the art of it? Was I able to express myself in the ways that I wanted or needed to express myself as both a voiceover artist, but also as a human being? Because there's a psychological aspect to what we do. Everybody has a different reason for why they want to be a voice actor. And I just, like Tom Dheere loves to tell stories. I love to talk. I'm a big talker. I'm a fast talker, but I just love telling stories. I love going on journeys and guiding people through journeys. So and it's funny because ever since I did my very first paid voiceover in 1996, I've always had the question, how'd I do as an artist? And every year the answer is a little bit better.
I love how you evaluated, first of all, the why, right? Because I think we always need to step back and say, remember your why. Why are we doing it in the first place, right? Because if it gets to the point where it's stressing you out too much, or you're, my corporate job did that. So, I mean, honestly, like one of the reasons why I did this, it was to go into business for myself, was because I found joy in running a business. I found joy in being creative and telling stories such as yourself. And I love how you opened with that, because when I asked you, I was thinking, gosh, you're going to bring out your spreadsheet and you're going to be like, all right, the business analyst is here and we're going to talk about how our year went, which I'm sure you're going to talk about anyways. But I love how you opened it with what is your why and how did you feel about it? Because I think you have to have the feels first, right? In order to want to continue and have the passion and the drive to keep moving forward. Well,
if there's no feels, then why are you doing it? And if you're doing it just for a paycheck, voiceover is the worst way to try to make money. It's so hard. It's so hard.
It's so hard. Wait, I feel like on the count of three, Tom, it's so hard.
I
love it.
And it takes forever to find out if you can make money, and and how long it's going to take you to make money that's going to feel like it validates you at all. And if you wanted to get to part-time, or if you want it to be something that's going to cover all your expenses and help save for retirement, there are, if there's 100 jobs out there, there's 99 out there that are better to make money and have a paycheck than this one. So if you are doing this, it better have the feels, right?
Now, why do you say that, though? I do want to ask you, why do you say that there's 100 jobs better at making the money? Why do we say that? I know, and the two of us are like, oh my God, it's hard. But give a little more background to that.
All right. I'm talking
to that why.
I'm talking in the context of something that gives you personal fulfillment. Now, in all fairness, if your passion is photography and you want to be a photographer, it's the principle is the same. You're a freelancer.
Yeah.
You have to figure out how to make your own work, how to market yourself, how to brand yourself, how to manage your finances. So the principles are all the same. So the self-employed, things like voiceover or photography. I want to be a singer, dancer, actor, model, musician, freelance graphic artist. I want to open my own yoga business or whatever. But for everything else, banking, legal, healthcare, and all of these things can be emotionally and psychologically rewarding, but those tend to be far more stable forms of income you know?
Yeah,
So my point is that if you're going to get into something as difficult to pursue, like photography or voiceover or, you know, or being a musician, if it doesn't have the feels, then why are you doing it? You're just some kind of masochist who just likes to make your life as difficult as humanly possible. You know?
I read an interesting blog about, you know, when you're in freelance and you're doing stuff like, you know, we're voice actors. I mean, it's all about certainty, right? We've given up our certainty. Because if we've worked for people in the corporate world like I did, I mean, I was certain I was getting that paycheck every 2 weeks. I mean, as long as I was, you know, employed. You know, now you've entered into the era or into a vortex of uncertainty. And that is, I think, where, you know, Tom and I are like, it's hard. And yeah, so if it doesn't give you the feels, then yeah, you have to make a lot of sacrifices for that.
Voiceover, the vortex of uncertainty. I love
the vortex of uncertainty. I'll tell you, not that we don't love it. I mean, gosh, we've both been in this over 15 years, right, Tom? So it's like, really, yeah. I mean, I would not have stayed with it. I don't think I could ever work for someone again, unless it's like an in-out, get paid for the job and we're done, like I do for all my
I can't work for anybody again.
And all my jobs. Yeah, no. I enjoy my business.
Yeah, me too.
So, all right, then the first step is to assess the feels, right? So,
right.
All right. So, do we still have the same feeling about voiceover? Do we still find the same joy in it as we did when we started? Okay, all right, that's good. That's step number one. Then what, Tom?
Well, then it's time to break that down because you know everybody has dreams in voiceover. Mm-hmm. And people like Ann Ganguza, who is a masterful genre coach and demo producer, that's part of the journey of helping to make your dreams come true. Get quality training, get a demo that you can use as a marketing tool to, you know, get the casting opportunities that you want to help make your dreams come true. But I tell all my students, vague goals will get you vague results. Specific goals will get you specific results.
Yes.
I also say that vague efforts will get you vague results. Specific efforts will get you specific results. So when it comes to analyzing, you know, your business and reconciling the feels with what do I need to do and be and have to fulfill me, narrate cartoons or video games or military history audiobooks or, you know, or college textbooks or whatever it is that blows your hair back, you know, but to get the feels that you desire, you need to be able to put in the time and money and energy and effort on a business and marketing sense to be able to get the casting opportunities that you want so you can get the feels, right? So
yes, absolutely.
And this is why I tell my students, the more specific you are about what you want, the better of a chance you're going to have to get what you want. And your goals can change from year to year. So I'll use myself as an example.
Is this the step? I'm sorry, but is this the step that's next in terms of like figuring out goals that you want for the next year, or are we still in the assessment phase of how this year went?
It directly flows into the goals that you want because your goals also are going to change from year to year. So, like for example,
right.
This is 2024. One of my main voiceover goals was to book political voiceover work. I'm doing my research and taking classes and listening to experts in the area. I knew this was going to be a big opportunity to be a political voice actor for a lot of people. My worry was that my sound, which is not the vote for this person and if you don't, the other one will eat your children. Like, I can't do that. My vocal folds are just not thick enough to be able to pull off that, or at least I just sound like I'm trying too hard. So it's like, is there a place for me with my personality, my skill sets, the thickness of my vocal folds to be able to get voiceover work? So I set a number for myself of how many political jobs I wanted to do this year and what are the things I need to do to be able to achieve those goals. So training, yes, check. Little JMC, little Brandon Perry, check. Demo, yes. got the spots, also added and embellished the demo with previous political work that I'd done in 2022 and 2023, because that's when I decided I wanted to, give this a shot. And then marketing acumen, get representation that specializes in booking political voiceover work, going on casting sites and keeping an eye out for political work, as well as optimizing my profile to feed the algorithms to get political voiceover work, and use direct marketing strategies to be able to develop relationships with production companies that specialize in political work and develop relationships with them and get work. And I did all three of those things, and to a greater or lesser extent, it worked in all three of those ways. So I did hit the number of political spots that I wanted to book this year. How do I know that? Well, I can count. But how does one keep track of this stuff? So I use my cash flow sheet, which is a free download at vostrategist.com, and it tracks every penny that goes into my voiceover business and every penny that goes out of my voiceover business. So obviously, I track all of the voiceover work that I did. What kind of genre it was, how much money I made, who did I work with, how I got the booking. This is where being able to look back on your year and figuring out how you did, instead of, because having the feels, like I said, is critical. It's the most important thing. But you need to find out, how much money did you spend this year? Where did you put your money? Training, demo production, marketing, other things. Where did you put your time and energy? Cold calling versus auditioning, versus blogging, versus social media, versus workshops, versus conferences, versus local events, versus national events. And how did all of that stuff pan out? What efforts did you put into 2024 that turned into what you want, which is the voiceover bookings to get you the feels, to get that fulfillment of, yes, I am realizing myself as a voice actor.
And that free downloadable has all of those aspects on there, like social media, like this is how you got the job, social. Oh wow, that's fabulous.
Yeah, so I'll walk everybody. I'll talk everybody through it. Is that the first column just has a little code. It's VO for voiceover, or VOS for VO strategist, because I track all my coaching stuff on there too. And then it's either the expense, like paper clips or whatever I bought, or a class that I took, or whatever that I attended, or whatever the voiceover is. And then I track what the voiceover is.
Do you buy paper clips, Tom?
I haven't bought paper clips in years.
Paper clips now?
I have so many paper clips from, my analog days that I'll never need to buy another paper clip again. So maybe that wasn't the best example.
I know. No, but I love it. I just was thinking about it. God, do we use paper clips anymore? Anyway, sorry.
Barely. I barely use paper clips. I use my stapler all the time, but I don't use my paper clip.
Right, I do too. I still use them. I still use my stapler. So.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, Staples.
At Staples, yes, one of my favorite places on earth. It's like Disneyland for me. That and the Container Store. If you've ever been to a Container Store,
oh yes, I love the Container Store.
Love those. There's one not far from me.
Stupidly expensive containers, but boy do I love them.
Do
I love them.
I just love walking around in there. It's like Willy Wonka.
Good stuff.
Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
So the date that it happened, the booking or the the expenditure, so for example, I recently went to MAVO, the Mid-Atlantic Voiceover Conference, and I tracked my mileage, I tracked my tolls, because I drove from Manhattan to Washington or to Virginia specifically and back. I tracked all the tolls, in and out of the Lincoln Tunnel, across the Delaware Bridge.
Can I tell you?
Please.
Can I tell you, I tracked my $6 butter that I bought from the bar so that I could put it on my Roy Ilkeson bagel, because I'm a girl who loves butter on her bagels. And so it was late at night, and I went to the bar and I said, can I buy some butter? And he's like, butter? And I said, well, I have a bagel. I said, have you ever had a bagel from New Jersey? And he's like, okay. And he comes back with 2 or 3. I'm like, no, that's not going to work for me. He just 2 or 3 little pats of that, that container, that just doesn't, I need 2 or 3 per square inch of a bagel for that. And ultimately he says, I'm going to have to charge you. And I said, okay, sure. So how much is that going to cost me? He goes, $6. And I'm like, I thought about it. It was late at night and I really wanted that bagel. And I said, all right, put it on my tab.
That's funny.
That's been tracked.
Okay.
Just wanted to clear the air on that. Just wanted to clear the air, that $6 butter.
It's a tax deduction because it's a food expense at a professional event.
Thank you, Roy. Thank you, Roy, for my bagel.
I
allowed myself to eat a bagel this time.
I had half a pumpernickel myself when I was down there.
But, I ate an entire bagel. I might have eaten 1.5, Tom, because, I had to have a lot of butter.
Yeah, well, I understand. You had to make it worth the $6 that you put out. So I track
Thank you, Uncle Roy.
Thank you, Roy. So I track all the traveling expenses, and obviously every meal I had and drink that I had was I track all that. Postage, mailings, things like that I track. Obviously I track the amount of money that I made. I enter the invoice that I generated for every voiceover that I did. The form of payment, check, direct deposit, PayPal, credit card, Wise, formerly known as TransferWise. But then I track I also currency, because I get a lot of European clients, so I get paid in euros as well as dollars and British pounds. But this is where the how to look at your voiceover business marketing-wise is that I have a section which I either type in AB for audition booking or DB for direct booking, because I like to know, did I get this through a one-to-one audition? I auditioned once, I booked one gig. Or is it a regular client or a legacy client that just said, "Oh, Tom, here's another explainer video," and you don't have to do an audition. So this year, 2024, my direct bookings were roughly 80% of my voiceover work, and the audition one-to-one auditions were roughly 20% of my voiceover work. And the question is, you get these numbers, but what do they mean? What that means for me, Tom Dheere, is that I have legacy clients dating back to 1997. That I don't audition for anymore. So that's clearly an accumulation of building regular clients over an extremely long period of time. And that's great. But I also need to know how relevant I am in the voiceover industry, because if you book an audition this year, that means that your voice, your sound, your performance is in demand and you're keeping up with casting trends. So
love that.
20%
you're relevant.
Is pretty good. The other thing I do is I track the portal. Yeah. How did I get this casting opportunity? The three portals in the voiceover industry are representation, online casting sites, self-marketing strategies. So looking at my spreadsheet, we're not quite at the end of the year yet, but we're pretty close. Right now, it's only 8% of my work came through representation, 42% came through online casting. That's both free sites and pay-to-play sites. 26% came through direct marketing, 23% came through indirect marketing. And so what do those numbers mean? Well, it means a couple of things. One, you line up the genres of voiceover that you want to do with the portals that you need to use to get them. So for example, agents don't cast audiobooks or explainers. So if I did a lot of audiobook work this year, that means I probably got it through ACX or Findaway Voices or Ahab or any of the other audiobook-centric casting sites. Or, and this also happens a lot, is that you develop direct relationships with audiobook production companies, Hachette, Podium Publishing, Oasis, a whole bunch of other places. And so I can look and go, oh, okay, well, I got a lot of work through that too. So it's reconciling the genre of voiceover, the type of bookings that I got, with how I got them. So, for example, political so far has been my best genre. 23.9% of my voiceover revenue was political. Second best was e-learning. I do a ton of e-learning. I've had clients dating back to the 90s, so that makes sense. Yes.
Does your spreadsheet calculate the percentage?
Yes.
Do you have formulas built into that spreadsheet? That's awesome.
Do.
I'm going to just ask, because I know there's a lot of bosses out there thinking this, oh, good Lord, it's a spreadsheet. And the eyes are already rolling back in their heads because it's overwhelming, right? But tell me, how much time does it take for them to account for this? Because if you think about it, this is nothing more than almost like an expense report, really, and a little bit more, right? If you were to travel for your job, right? And so I feel like you always have to fill out an expense report in order to get paid for it. So this is kind of like your expense report slash, maybe not statement. Expense, inflow, outflow, report for your business. And so how long should you expect to sit down at the end of a day, at the end of a week, and fill that out?
Couple minutes. Well, that's the thing. I set up all
so
these
see
formulas.
that, guys? It's only a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
It's only a couple of minutes.
It does not
and
take
so
long.
even as overwhelming, like Tom is coming up with all these numbers and these statistics from his own like job in his own like year, but yet he's only spent a few minutes a day jotting this stuff down. And I think it's just something like muscle memory. Like as much as you go and practice character development or practice your scripts, it is time invested that you have to put into your studio. And I just want to say that I think I want to clarify, Tom, that there's a number of people that get into this industry because they find joy in reading books or they find joy in creating characters. However, not everybody finds joy in the work that's required, right, to actually create and delve in deeper to that character or delve in deeper to growing a business. As much joy as these things bring you, there is work involved. And I want to acknowledge, and Tom, we've said it before multiple times, it's hard, right? I mean, not every single aspect of your business is going to be like, I mean, until you're probably established, right? 8 hours in the booth doing joyful, like character work, if that's what you want to do. There is the other work that it takes to get you to that place to feel joyful, as you were explaining, right? So you can derive the joy, the feels, right? And so this assessment, this end of year assessment can give you such valuable insight into where you've gone and where you want to go in the future and how much time you're going to have to dedicate to different aspects of it. And so it's worth the couple of minutes. And I say that it's worth a couple of minutes, like to my students that are in performance, I say it's worth a couple of minutes to do that copy analysis, to do that character development, to do that scene writing. Because in the end, that's what's going to pay off and get you the gig. Because ultimately, you can go in and create characters all you want, but until you make a profit doing that, right? That's just all you're doing is going in your studio and creating characters. And if it's something that needs to pay the bills, that may not happen until you put in a little more work that may not be as pleasant.
Right.
Just
I
saying.
mean, I've been developing this spreadsheet for 20 years, and I have all sorts of little
and you
formulas
get the
and
benefit,
things
bosses. Yeah.
Yeah,
You
and
get
you
the
can have it
benefit
for free.
for free. Tom,
For
is this
free.
for free?
For
oh my
free.
God. So that's so awesome, right? You don't have to put the work in. That Tom, you're getting the benefit of Tom. This is why we call him the VO strategist, right? And if you need help, there he is, Tom. I'm sure people can come see you and,
Yes.
and work with you, that you can help streamline this so that it becomes something that isn't so tedious or isn't something that, you're questioning, well, why am I not booking work, or why is this not happening in my business? So if you need an accountability partner, and I'll tell you what, I'm the first person to say that in my business, I will invest in something that will keep me on track, something that will keep me going. I have a business coach I invest in a monthly basis, an accountability partner. Tom is like one of the best out there, and he's done all this work for you. Sorry, I'm gushing right now, Tom. But
gush
I
away.
wouldn't. I mean, bosses that know me, like I don't bullshit. Sorry, I just don't. I'm honest to probably a fault, but I would not talk about Tom, nor would I have Tom on my podcast so many times if I didn't believe in what he's doing, and I didn't believe that you're going to gain such value. And again, this won't be an entire 20-minute sell of Tom Dheere, but honestly, guys, I pay $44 a month for Peloton so that I can get on that bike and be inspired and motivated by the Peloton instructor. This is kind of no different, right? It's worth it to me because the benefits, right, that I get health-wise and joy-wise, from getting on the bike and exercising and being inspired and motivated are very well worth the investment. And so if this is something that, you are not going to be disciplined enough to do, I believe that it's well worth your investment to really, really start seeing where your business has gone so that you can understand where to take it in the future, right, and guide it towards success.
I have an accountability
I
too.
stepped down from my podium.
Thank you. That was very kind of you. Thank you for all that. I have an accountability
I'm not even
too.
being kind.
Yeah.
I'm being truthful.
I appreciate that.
Right?
And I have a business coach
yeah.
too. I have people in my village that hold me accountable. Because I have my days of self-doubt and self-loathing and laziness and stuff, and I have people that keep me on track. But with my mentorship program, you're basically paying for an accountability buddy and a business coach all in one. Because folks, I know bosses, this stuff is hard. It's challenging on a logistical, financial, emotional, spiritual, psychological level. And I am here for you. But you're grown-ups. You need to be able to invest in yourself and be consistent. Be kind to yourself when you need to be kind. Be firm to yourself when you need to be firm. And I frankly don't care if you don't like the grown-up stuff. I don't care because the voiceover industry doesn't care either. You want to do this for money? Yeah. You want to make all your goofy voices in the booth and play all day? Great. You got to put in a ton of work, and it never gets any easier. It just turns into different kinds of hard. Anne has been doing this for a long time. Yeah, right. She has her own challenges, internal and external, that are just different from the ones that bosses who are earlier in their journey have. Same thing with me. Yeah. But if you really want to know who you are, what your business is, what your relationship to the voiceover industry is, beyond, just your talent and how great coaches like Anne can help you realize your talent, you need to hunker down and use my damn spreadsheet and analyze your business and take a hard look. Hunker down and use the spreadsheet. I'm wearing flannel today for you podcasters, so I'm feeling very, very, very
use the
rural.
Damn spreadsheet.
Use the damn spreadsheet.
Oh my God, I feel like hunker down and use the damn spreadsheet. See, like even Tom and I have fun with character development. So honestly, like it just makes sense. And I'll be completely honest with you. We run our businesses for a purpose, and we basically, we're doing this for a purpose, right? And I want to support the joy that I have in doing what I do. And yeah, there are days when, gosh, it's painful. But I also outsource some of this stuff as well to an accountant. And I've said that multiple times. I have an accountant who takes care of all my inflows and outflows and categorizations. And that's a big help. Right then and there. She doesn't track my auditions or how I got the job, but honestly, like that's just a couple of extra steps. Now there's another piece of software out there, or I think it's VoiceOver that does that as well. Mm-hmm. I think that's with VoiceOver with Danny States. Is that correct?
That's right.
They have a kind of a CRM, and people will say, "Well, can I do this? Can I track this with my CRM?" Yeah, you probably can, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You won't have the benefit of the mentor, a monthly kind of meeting with Tom. And even if you're using VoiceOver, I don't think there's like a mentorship built into that. But, it depends on what level you need and what level you're requiring. The thing that I like about your spreadsheet, Tom, is that it's local, right? I'm very leery of a database that I'm necessarily putting confidential information in, like what I'm getting paid per job, unless I know that system has like security, that nobody's going to hack in and like steal my contacts, or nobody's going to, that goes for a CRM system too, right? I want to make sure that is secured. And that there's no possibility that somebody's going to go in and get financial data on me that maybe I didn't warrant, anybody taking or seeing, or my client base. And so I like yours because yours is local. You can just download it and you copy it to your computer, and there it is. And that's as secure as your computer is. Yep. And then you can meet with your mentor, right, on a monthly basis, weekly basis, however that works. Mm-hmm. And that, to me, I feel good about. And I'm leery about CRM software anyway, just because, but it's, a lot of CRM software doesn't do exactly what I want it to do. And people are always asking me what CRM to use. I use multiple CRMs depending on what I need. Mm-hmm. I'm not necessarily putting in financial data. I have my trust in my accountant, and I have trust in the software that handles that accounting data, and that is where that data goes. Everything else is my computer and my business partner. That's it. Nothing that's sitting out there on a server. And I'm not trying to say disparage anybody who might be subscribing to those other services, but that's just my personal feeling. I don't know, Tom, how you feel about that.
Yeah, you got to work within your comfort level, your comfort zone, and you can, like I said, you can, and like Ann said, you can download the spreadsheet. It's on your desktop, and then you can back it up to your external hard drive, and it never sees the internet, and you're totally safe. And you got to work within your comfort level of your CRM. If you feel that you just need to have another spreadsheet backed up to your hard drive that has a breakdown of all of your contacts, that's all fine too, just as long as you're able to interact with it effectively, so you know when it's time to market to which potential current or past clients, and how you do it based on the work that you've done with them or the genres that they cast.
And I don't want bosses to misunderstand to say that I don't trust CRMs. I have CRMs and I put my data on them, but I need to know the specifics of the CRM. If they're a major company, if they're not securing their data, you know what I mean? And the reason why I'm like this is because I used to work in technology. I used to be the person that needed to secure the data so that nobody could hack in and get it, because I worked for a school with minority, and under the age of 18 children. So, I needed to make sure that data was safe. So I'm particularly anal about it. So I basically, that's where my thoughts come from. So I don't want to disparage any product out there. Just, this is the way I feel about it. Anyway, but Tom, what a wonderful way to assess. Yeah. To assess your how your year went, because how do you know where you're going if you don't know where you've been, kind of thing, right? It's nice to be able to assess how your year went so that you can really assess that, make improvements for the following year. Because I know for a fact that I want to grow my business every year after year after year. And like you said, even though we've been in this business for so long, it doesn't get any easier, even for us. I still have to strategize. How am I going to grow my business next year? How am I going to evolve and change with a shift in the industry? Or if there's shifts in the industry, how am I changing? Am I getting different performance coaching? Am I, how am I marketing myself differently? How am I planning my business? And I can't tell those things unless I've really assessed how the year has gone. So, Tom, I so appreciate, and we'll be putting the link for that download on our show notes page. And of course, Tom Dheere is always available to chat with. I'm sure you've got one of those free consults that people can sign up for.
That is right.
If they're interested in finding out more, we have that also in the show notes. And with that, I will say, bosses, I hope you had an amazing year. I had a great year. I really, compared to everything that's been going on this year, it's been a crazy year, but you know what? It's been a positive year, and I always like a positive year in my business. So, yeah. Tom, thank you so much for all of your wisdom, and as always, for being a real boss.
Aw, and thanks as always for having me, Ann.
Yeah. All right, bosses, big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL. You too can connect and network like bosses. Find out more at ipdtl.com. Bosses, have an amazing year coming up. I hope you had an amazing year. Make sure you assess it using Tom Dheere's downloadable PDF, and we will see you next week. Awesome. Bye, guys.